I'm going to be copying top Etsy sellers for 1 week to see if I can make my first $1,000 on Etsy.
Okay, pause right there. I was getting a little too optimistic. There's no way you can actually do that, I think, on Etsy in 1 week. I feel like your listings can't really hit the algorithm that well in 1 week. But that was the original plan for this video. But we're at least going to try and crack the Etsy code and get to the bottom of what makes a listing sell and what makes it flop. And we're still going to be spying on some top Etsy sellers to see what's making their stores so successful.
This one shirt is making $33,000 a month. $97,000. This is monthly revenue. $91,000. 79, like what? Now I feel like I have figured out what it is that is happening on the back end that is actually making these shops blow up.
And I'm going to be sharing all of my findings with you guys throughout this video, as well as clean up my store and try to find some more success. So let's just get into it.
I recently started an Etsy store and listed 100 products just to see what would happen. And if you want to watch me do that, you can go watch these 2 videos, but spoiler alert, nothing really happened. I walked out of those challenges with just a few sales. But I am not ready to give up on my Etsy store, and I want to crack the code on what makes a shop successful. So phase 1 of this little challenge is research. I asked ChatGPT how to find top stores, as well as watch tons of YouTube videos on the topic. And from what I found, I developed a little plan of action. So number 1 is I need to beef up on my research tools. I'm going to get a tool called Everbee, and that tool basically shows me how much people are searching for certain things on Etsy, and it will help me to identify top sellers and see their best-selling products. And with that information, I can recreate these products in a new and unique way. The second thing that I plan to do is clean up my store. If you guys watched the first 2 episodes of my whole Etsy journey, I basically went in and threw spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick, and I made 100 products, and a lot of them flopped and have 0 views and no traffic, so I'm going to take those off so my store looks less messy and make new, better products based on what I find. The third thing I plan to do is lower my prices. A lot of you guys said I was charging too much, and from my research, it's better to lower your prices and make more sales versus trying to get a higher profit margin off of less sales. So I'm going to be charging a lot less for what I'm putting on my store. And then lastly, I'm going to create better mock-ups for my products. A lot of you guys were very helpful in my first 2 Etsy videos and suggested that I make better mock-ups of my products and also show how I hand paint my designs for a more personal touch. So I'm just going to try and up the quality of my listings and the visuals of them overall. So I guess let's see if these things can bring in more sales for me. Let's get started. I just got into Everbee and some of these sales are insane. Look at this. These are single items. This one shirt is making $33,000 a month. $97,000. This is monthly revenue. $91,000. 79, like what? These are single items? That's crazy. Obviously that's not straight profit, but still. Imagine if you had like 3 shirts pop off. I need to mess around with this. This is interesting. Okay, so yesterday I spent like a good hour digging around on Everbee, and here are my findings. So what I was trying to target before had like no search volume. It was like very little, like only 100 searches per month on all of Etsy, which is very low because what are the chances of out of 100 people that search that thing, they're gonna find my listing and want to buy that when there's like 100 other listings for the same search result. So the search traffic was way too low. So I'm really happy I actually took the leap and bought that thing so I could look at the back end of what's actually happening on Etsy. So I did some digging around and spying on some other shops, and I've landed on a few shirt ideas that I think I'm going to make. So the search term plant lover's gift has a very high search volume, and it sort of falls in line with the nature theme on my store. So I use that as a starting point to figure out what I want to create. And I looked at the top search results that were coming up that were t-shirts, and it seemed like the search results that were ranking at the top of the page were funny plant t-shirts. So I think that that is the direction that I'm going to try and head in. So let's make some designs. So I've got my sketchbook. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of doodling and see what I come up with. I think I want to make one simple design and then also a more realistic looking design, just so I have a couple options to mess with. Let's get to doodling. Okay, I've been doodling. I made a few things. The first things that I made, don't like them. I drew these two things, and then I also drew my little bonsai tree. Didn't really like either of these, and then I just decided to go in with straight pen and see what I could draw. And these are cuter. I actually just think I'm gonna try and work with these and see what I can come up with. But I am going to turn these into a vector and play around with them on the computer.
Now that I have my little doodles, let's actually make the t-shirt design.
If you don't want to spend a ton of time or money coming up with a t-shirt design that people actually want to buy, I've got something that's going to make your life way easier, and it's called Kittl, and that's what I'm going to be using to design my t-shirts today. Kittl is a super easy design platform that helps you create awesome professional looking t-shirt designs without needing to be a designer or spending hours to figure everything out. They've got tons of ready-made templates, cool fonts, and tons of tools to make the process really fun and fast. You can go from idea to finished design in like 10 minutes if you wanted to. So with the drawings that I did earlier, all I really did was vectorize them, and then I messed around with them a little bit and I came up with this really cute design. And here is how my t-shirt designs turned out, and I think they are so cute. If you've been feeling stuck or want to make your designs just look way better, give it a try. It's definitely a game changer. And if you want to try it out for yourself and start creating today, you guys can try out Kittl for free by going to the link in my description.
I also have a discount code for you guys. You guys can use my code FrankieYT for 25% off your first month or first year on all paid plans.
And thank you to Kittl for sponsoring this video. Okay, and now that I have my designs, I'm going to go into actually making my new listings. I'm going to use all the keywords and stuff that I found during the research process, and hopefully these listings will be a little bit more effective for me. So let's update my Etsy.
So I used my designs and went in and made some new and improved quality listings with actual research behind them. I made sure every photo was well thought out, everything was SEO optimized, and I also did some of the things that I mentioned earlier in this video, like going through my store and lowering all of my prices.
Okay, so I've been working on my Etsy shop consistently for about a week now, as well as spying on these shops, and I want to share with you guys what I found. I implemented the 4 things that I said I was going to do earlier in this video, and I really went for quality over quantity this time. Every image I created for my listings was custom, so it took me quite a bit of time to make my listings. I also really made sure to mimic the keywords of the top listings that were coming up for the search term that I was targeting, so that my listings would reach the right audience. And though I don't have any monetary results to show from my efforts this week, my views went up significantly and a lot faster than they normally do. And also, I looked at my Everbee score for all of my key terms, and nothing on any of my new listings had below like a 20 or 0.20. I forgot what it was. But at least I know all of those key terms are ranking my listings. So my listings are getting eyes, which is great. And I do have some key valuable takeaways that I noticed that I can share with you guys that I see all of these top successful Etsy sellers doing. I will definitely be implementing these things into my shop to make it more successful as well. So here is what they are. Number 1 is they nail the first impression. The first impression on a listing is everything. A generic flat lay mockup doesn't seem to cut it in the world of Etsy. Top sellers use high quality, consistent product photos that have cohesive branding. Their main thumbnail photos pop and stand out on a sea of listings. Their product pages feel trustworthy, and their shops have just a distinct aesthetic overall. And they spend tons and tons of time on their visuals. But mostly what I'm seeing is the first photo is everything for a listing. The second thing that I'm seeing all these top sellers do is really understand SEO and trends. Especially after getting that tool, I see how much work they put in on the back end to make sure that their listings are ranking. It's super evident that they are doing a lot of research before they even make the products to make sure it's something that people are even searching for. They seek out buyer intent before even making products, as well as set their shop up for success by following seasonal or cultural trends. These top sellers definitely understand who they are selling to. Number 3, they make their entire listing feel like an experience and not just a slew of product photos. Etsy is not like Amazon. A clean white backdrop with just a mock-up is not the way to go, especially in apparel. Making your product appear the most natural and appealing that you can seems to be the best thing that you can do. I went on a ton of top seller shops, and it seemed that every single listing photo was curated and tailored to their brand and their listing. Top sellers seem to be making their shops feel like a brand and not just a page full of random slapped together listings. This is something that I feel like I was majorly lacking in. For example, here's what an old listing of mine looks like, and then here is what a new listing looks like. I spent much more time making sure that every single piece of that listing felt well thought out and gave the shopper an actual valuable experience. And it is paying off. My listings are now getting actual organic views. And this isn't something that I noticed specifically on Etsy, but I did watch a ton of Etsy YouTube videos, and I've heard a lot of people suggest to market outside of Etsy as well. So utilizing things like Pinterest or maybe even making an Instagram page for your shop could be very helpful. Don't rely on just the Etsy algorithm itself to get the right eyes on your products. You could directly be targeting people outside of Etsy as well. So yeah, those are my main takeaways from spying on top Etsy sellers. Hopefully you guys found this valuable and helpful. I plan to do another update on my Etsy shop in maybe a month or a couple weeks, we'll see. Now I feel like I have figured out what it is that is happening on the back end that is actually making these shops blow up. So fingers crossed, I will actually have some results to show you guys very, very soon. So yeah, I guess that's it for this video. If you guys did like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe down below. And I love you guys so much. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.